That all work?
And my Robert's rules.
You do.
Okay, I'm going to call this meeting, special legislative meeting of the Town Council of Riverdale Park to order at 7:02 p.m. We're supposed to have a roll call at the beginning of the meeting. So before we do anything else, I'm going to call a roll. Councilmember Dixon.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm here.
Councilmember Poe.
I'm here.
Councilmember Lingua.
Here.
Councilmember Henry. Not present. Councilmember
Henry.
Richardson. Not present. Councilmember Mayers.
Present.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Are any changes required for the agenda?
None.
Council member, or pardon me, Town Clerk Barnes, the draft letter, was that included under new business?
It has not been, but I can add it to the packets right now.
Okay, that would be great.
Councilmember
Yeah.
Lingwood, just to let you know, I contacted the school board member, Joshua Thomas, today and gave him the information for this meeting. And as we get closer to that, I'll send him a text message and he may join us.
Oh, great.
So are any changes required to the agenda? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Seconded.
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilmember Dixon, seconded by Councilmember Foe. Was that Foe?
Yes.
Yeah.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye during roll call. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Mayers.
Aye.
Did I miss anybody? Okay. There being no one present to vote for the other two, the motion passes 4-0-1. I abstain. Are there any, move to the next item on the agenda, public comments. Are there any public comments? Recognize Ms. Katz.
Hello, yes, I would just like to thank the council and staff for making this meeting possible tonight in this format and enable the attendance of the public like myself. So thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
I would like to second the thanks to the staff. I know that they've been burning the candle at both ends and maybe in the middle to get all this material ready, but we are in the midst of a major emergency and we need to move fast. So thank you all to the staff very much, to the council for scrambling to get here. I know that not all of you it's easy for. So let's go on to the, hearing no more public comments, no other members of the public in attendance as far as I can tell. Let's move on to legislative action items. Number 1, a motion to adopt resolution 2020-R-06 regarding town remote meeting attendance. May I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Councilmember Lingua, was that
Seconded.
correct? Seconded by Councilmember Foe.
Yes.
Is there any discussion of this resolution? It's awfully quiet.
I have no questions on it. So I'm ready to act on it. Any concerns I had, I already talked with staff about.
Okay, I would just like to say, as part of this resolution, that I'm required to do a roll call vote on every question. So if anyone sees me not doing that, please wave at me so I know, remember what to do. Okay, is there any other discussion of this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to adopt resolution 2020-R-06 regarding remote meeting attendance indicate by saying aye during roll call. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Henry is still not present. Councilmember Richardson still not present. Councilmember Mayers,
Aye.
And I vote to abstain. The motion therefore passes 401. Next item on the agenda is a motion to adopt Resolution 2020-R-07 to create a Town of Riverdale Park TRP Partners in Economic Recovery Program. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion was made by Councilmember Foe. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Who got it? I'm going to give it to Councilmember Mayers. It was her rectangle that was lit up when I looked. So, is there discussion or introduction of this resolution?
The Town of Riverdale Park hereby establishes the Partners in Economic Recovery Program that incorporates the following goals: to expand the eligible uses of the town's Economic Development Fund, to amend existing grants and initiatives to address the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, create direct benefit programs related to food security, create direct benefit programs that support town businesses related to food security, and create grant programs to assist residents and businesses in addressing emergency repairs to their homes and businesses.
Very good. Is there any discussion of this resolution, this motion? Hearing none, seeing none, no hands waving, then let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye during roll call. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Henry is absent, is that correct? Councilmember Richardson is absent, is that correct? Councilmember Mayers?
Aye.
I abstain, the motion passes 401. Next item on the agenda is item 3, motion to adopt resolution 2020-R-08, amending the definition of the Economic Development Fund. May I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a second? To the
Second.
motion? Motion has been made by Councilmember Mayers to adopt resolution 2020-R-08, seconded by Councilmember Lingua. Is that correct?
Sounds right.
Very good. Is there discussion of this motion? Can we have a staff report on this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Ryan, do you want to comment on this?
Sure, I can comment on this. So the idea behind this resolution is that we wanted to broaden the definition of the Economic Development Fund in order to encompass these programs that we're discussing later tonight, the ones that are directly impacting or directly the result of the coronavirus and our response to it. And so the definition has been changed to include health, safety, and welfare and economic security of the town. So that way these new programs can be established using the Economic Development Fund.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion of the motion to adopt resolution 2020-R-08?
Just for my lack of math skills, the required match is reduced from 10-1 to 2-1. So
If I may, that's going to be in the next action, I believe. Yes.
Yes. 4.
So in this action, it's just amending the definition of the Economic Development Fund. So for background, the mayor and council had approved the definition in 2018, in January 2018. And at the time, we were just looking at brick and mortar type things. So all this vote does is broaden that definition to give the mayor and council the ability to tap whatever funds are available there for a variety of other programs.
Is there any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, please indicate your support for the motion or vote to support the motion with by saying aye as I call the roll. Councilmember Dixon,
aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Henry is absent still. Councilmember Richardson is absent still. Councilmember Mayers.
Aye.
Mr. Lestitian, does this vote require 5 affirmative votes or is 4 sufficient?
4 is sufficient on this. The only one that will require 5 is the transfer of the funds, the emergency ordinance, sir.
The ordinance.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I abstain. The motion passes 401. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2020-R-09, amending the Business Growth Grant Program. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2020-R-09?
So moved.
Councilman Mayor's got it.
Councilmember Mayers made the motion,
Seconded.
seconded by Councilmember Foe. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Everybody good with that? Is there discussion of Resolution 2020-R-09?
When you define a hard and soft construction cost, what does that infer? What does that imply?
Ryan, can you address that?
Yes, so an example of both hard and soft construction costs. So a hard construction cost usually constitutes the actual construction itself. So if you see somebody out there at the scaffold or something doing the actual manual hands-on labor. So the soft cost would be the design of something like this. And
Okay.
more of the behind the scenes kind of
Planning.
construction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion of item 4, adoption of Resolution 2020-R-09?
I understand the cap on that is $5,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
The grant amount is $5,000 cap, which means that with a 2-to-1 match, the minimum amount of the whole project is $15,000.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, that's the maximum grant amount. So someone could be awarded less. So it's basically that we're in a project for a third.
Okay.
And so if someone has a $6,000 project, we would be in for 2.
Is this a one-time only access for grant, or is this per? Yeah.
We would evaluate the applications on the merits of the applications, but there's nothing in the current program, because this is amending a current program. There's
Yeah.
nothing in the current program that would prohibit someone from applying more than once.
Thank you.
In this unique circumstance, how can I put it? Allowing someone to apply more than once, is there a time period between when they can do one, like the first one? Because, I mean, if someone applied and then turned around and applied immediately again, I don't know. if
Yeah,
that's the intent.
And I agree with you, council member, that would not be the intent of the program. The intent of the program is to lift as many ships as we can. But I think that will be worked out in the administrative guidelines as opposed to the legislative here. So I can say that in the last 2 years that we've had this program, we've had, I think, 4 grants that went out. Probably the most visible is Banana Blossom Bistro, where they were awarded funds. So with this lower amount, we make it more. But this is looking to lower the threshold of entry into the program so that a business that was hoping to pull off a project still may be able to in this down economy. But the staff team certainly understands the council's intent.
And we allocated the decision-making to staff as a council, didn't we, in discussions about this previously?
That's the way that the administration of the program is set up, where we have a staff team that reviews the applications. So it's not one individual making a decision. Ryan, he will coordinate the application and shepherd an applicant through the process. But it is Director Lewis Director Barnes, Director Smith, and myself, who will make the decision whether or not the applicant and the application meets the vision and commitment of the town for business and economic development, as well as the intent of the council for the program.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion of resolution 2020-R-09? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye as I call the roll. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Henry is absent still. Councilmember Richardson, I have heard over text message, is trying to connect, but is having technical issues. Councilmember Mayers?
Aye. Aye.
I abstain. The motion passes 4-0-1. Next item on the agenda is a motion to adopt resolution 2020-R-10, amending the Business Improvement Grant Program. May I have a motion to that effect?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-R-10.
Seconded.
Motion has been made by Councilmember Lingua, seconded by Councilmember Foe. Is there discussion of this resolution?
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution that is amending the Town of Riverdale Parks Business Improvement Grant Program. Essentially, that was mostly set up to handle exteriors. But what this is going to allow is for reimbursement of, or essentially to cover eligible expenses that include limited interior work that serves to attract customers. This is so that businesses can keep investing and improving on their businesses so as to generate more business. Essentially, it's not just for exterior stuff, it now includes some interior work as well.
Okay. Is there any further discussion of this motion? Questions or comments? I can't see the little raised hand, so if somebody's raising a hand, please. It's hard to keep everything on screen at the same time. Okay, hearing no more discussion of this resolution or this motion, all those in favor, please indicate an aye or nay vote as I call the roll. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Henry, not present. Councilmember Richardson, not present. Councilmember Mayers.
Aye.
I abstain. The motion passes 4-0-1. This brings us to agenda item number 6, a motion to adopt resolution 2020-R-11 to create a farmers market dollars program for town residents in need. May I have a motion to create this program, adopt resolution 2020-R-11?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I'm going to give the second to Councilmember Lingua. Councilmember Foe made the motion, seconded by Councilmember Lingua.
I am happy to defer to Councilmember Dixon.
It's okay. Since you're sitting in the room, I happily defer to you.
Okay,
You're sitting in
motion
town
made by
hall.
Councilmember Foe, seconded by Councilmember Dixon. Is there discussion of this resolution?
Yes, the town of Riverdale Park hopes to establish the farmers market dollar program as follows. As simplified, the town residents who declare a need for assistance, there will not be a means test. If you are a non-SNAP recipient, you can apply for up to $25 per week. And if you are receiving SNAP benefits already, you can apply for an additional $15 per week that can be used at the Riverdale Park Farmers Market.
Very good. I'm going to mention that I asked Town Manager Lestitian to develop a program along these lines because a lot of people saw their last paycheck for a long time last Friday, and I'm just worried about keeping everybody fed. I think we can help out a little bit this way and help out the farmers market also, which is going to prove to be very important to us over the next couple of months, I think. So thank you for that work. Is there further discussion of resolution 2020-R-11? Hearing none, I'm going to call the roll for your votes. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Henry, not in attendance. Councilmember Richardson, not in attendance. Councilmember Mayers.
Aye.
I abstain. The motion passes 4-0-1. Next motion on the, or next item on the agenda is a motion to adopt resolution 2020-R-12 to create a dining direct benefit and promotional program for town restaurants. Can I have a motion to adopt resolution 2020-R-12?
So moved.
Motion was made by Councilmember Foe. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Lingua seconded the motion. Is there discussion of this motion?
Yes, this resident restaurant town partnership program is to help prop up the food service industry that we have existing in Riverdale. And the main focus is right now to create town-funded discount coupons to encourage residents to utilize those restaurants that are still operating currently within the town. Also focusing on promotion and simultaneously encouraging residents in this time to spend their dollars locally.
Thank you, Councilmember Foe. Councilmember Lingua, you had some questions for me over the phone earlier about this. Did all those questions get answered?
Yes, I spoke with Mr. Lestition about this. Generally what it was I'll share with the other members of the council is, I was curious about the definition of what a restaurant was. It can be very broad, and I was wondering if the scope of this program was going to go and include places like that are more corporate or branch owned. That being a place like McDonald's, for example, or actually Mod Pizza, District Taco, I believe. I know Burton's is not open right now, but this would also concern Habit as well. And my question was, when we're looking at this, are we looking at independent proprietors or independent franchisees of restaurants, in the sense that, say, someone has a McDonald's, but it's not a corporate held McDonald's, but it's something where they're a franchisee and they've bought a license from McDonald's, essentially where they are sending a part of what they're making to the larger corporation, but pretty much whether or not the operation sinks or swims is on them. So I asked staff about that, and they said that they were going to look into it. Is that a correct assessment, Mr. Lestition?
That is a correct assessment, sir. And so as written, the resolution does not exclude restaurants. And if you want, we can amend a line in the resolution. And give me 1 second to pull up that resolution. My internet, as I just texted to Ms. Barnes, is fading in and out for some reason tonight. So if it pleases the council, at the bottom of the resolution, we can add a line, maybe a new line 1, that would say the intent of the program is not to support national chains, or the intent of the program is not to, I think we want to be careful because you can have small chains, right?
Yeah, District Taco has multiple restaurants, but
Yeah.
As does Burton's.
Yes. So if it's national chains that you want to exclude, I think the simplest way to do that is to add a new line 1 to the amendment and say the intent of the program is to not include national chain restaurants. You get into the franchisees. I spoke with Ryan following our conversation, Councilmember Lingua, and
Yes.
the question would be, if you have a franchisee may own 20 or 30 franchises.
I have worked with programs in the past where we've limited, say there is a franchisee applying for the grant program, they would be limited but they'd have to show proof of the number of franchises that they own, and then it would have to be lower than some number, say half a dozen or 4 or whatever number we decided to go with. I've worked with programs in the past where we've used criteria like this.
Would something like that satisfy your concerns, Councilmember Lingua?
I think so.
And is there a number that we want to set?
Well, I was thinking of offering a language of the sort that would tack on to the end of number 1 right now. So let me just throw it out there. I'll make a motion to amend line 1 under the final paragraph to read, make available to town residents town-funded discount coupons for participating town restaurants operated as a sole proprietorship or owners of a single franchise.
We have a lot of restaurants, though, that may be LLCs, LLPs. They may be incorporated in a variety of ways, but they still may be mom and pops. We may be excluding
sole proprietorship. I see what you're saying.
Yes. So if we say that, we may be excluding a number of restaurants that I think the council would like to include. For example, Texas 250 Barbecue, there's a parent corporation owned by the owners who work there every day. And then that parent corporation actually then owns the LLC that they function under.
Poor choice of words.
Yeah. So I think we would want to be more expansive than that. And it may be simplest to say what the intent is not to support.
Okay.
And as opposed to try to include everything. So if we said something along the line of, and we can add it on to line 1 as you're suggesting, sir, that the intent of the program is not to provide or is to not include national chain restaurants or franchises that have more than X number. I think what Ryan is suggesting the council consider has merit in defining out what's not included.
So that number can be fairly high and
Yes.
still exclude a lot of these restaurants. So for instance, I believe that Jersey Mike's, which is an interesting one,
Yeah.
that they have like a local cluster of franchises that are maybe a dozen or something like that. But there are a lot more Jersey Mike's than that.
Yes.
So,
Taco has 13 locations in the Mid-Atlantic region.
so maybe 25?
That from a staff perspective, Mr. Mayor, I think that's a reasonable number.
Okay. Does that sound good to you, Councilmember Lingua?
Is that nationally or regionally are we talking about?
National, I believe.
That sounds, I think 25, I think that should probably cover it. I think that's pretty much going to include anybody in town, so.
Right. And that's the intent.
Okay.
So, Mr. Listician, can you read the statement again? And then no one seconded the previous motion
Second.
to have the sole proprietorship. So can you read in the language, and if it's acceptable, make a motion to that effect?
I withdraw that motion for right now.
Very good.
Well, in the language that I would suggest a council member use would be to amend line 1 to read, make available to town residents town-funded discount coupons for participating town restaurants that are not corporate chains or franchises that exceed, or franchisees that exceed 25 locations nationally.
Hold on a second.
Mertens is at 17.
Somebody else could grab it from him while he's writing.
Hold on, I'm just writing it down so when I read it back, I have it correct.
I think you can just say "so moved" at this point, and it'll be brought in the transcript.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to amend, I'd like to offer an amendment to the last paragraph, number 1, to add the words after, to add the following words after restaurants that are not corporate chains or franchisees exceeding 25 locations nationally.
Is there a second to the motion to amend?
Seconded.
Mr. Chelton, does this sound like a reasonable set of
Language?
rules?
I think it does, yes, and I think it helps that Councilmember Foe looked up the count of restaurants, some of the local restaurants. I think that based on the numbers he's thrown out, that this sounds about right.
Okay. Is there any council discussion of the amendment? Hearing none, all those, I'm going to do a roll call vote on the amendment only. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua. Where'd you go, Lingua? There you are.
Aye.
Councilmember Henry is absent. Councilmember Richardson is still absent. I haven't seen anyone arrive. Councilmember Mayers.
Aye.
The motion to amend to the new language passes 401. I abstain. We're
Good
back to the main
question,
motion
Councilman.
as amended. Is there any further discussion of the main motion as amended? Hearing none, I'll do another roll call vote for the adoption of resolution
No.
20. Hello?
No further.
A roll call vote for the adoption of resolution 2020-R-12. And I'm going to go in the opposite order this time just for
Oh,
fun.
what?
Flipping us.
Councilmember Mayers.
Aye.
Councilmember Richardson is absent. Councilmember Henry is absent. Councilmember Lingua.
Aye.
Councilmember Foe. Councilmember Foe.
Aye.
Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
I abstain. The motion passes 401. We move next on the agenda to item 8, motion to adopt resolution 2020-R-13 to create an emergency repair grant program. Would someone
Mr.
like to-
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-R-13 for the purpose of establishing the Town of Riverdale Parks Emergency Repair Grant Program in response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Motion has been made by Councilmember Lingua. Is there a second?
Second.
She got me.
Councilmember Mayers seconded the motion. Is there discussion of this motion?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. In response to this, to what we're going through and what residents and will be going through and businesses as well, as we're setting up other grant programs and things, we're looking for something to help address the needs of folks, say, during this whole thing. Hot water heater goes, HVAC goes down. You're no longer getting heat in your place. And you come to realize some morning that your main pipe out of your house has collapsed and you're gonna need to do an immediate repair. and you're at a point where you may not have, or you're going to be hard pressed to find the means to handle that expense. This is set up so as to help address that issue and allow grants that would require a 1-to-2 match for the first $1,000 and a 1-to-1 match thereafter. So say you had a repair that was going to run, say, $1,500. The first $1,000 would be matched 1-to-2. And so that would be a $500, or pardon me, that would be a $333 to $667 for that, and then the final 500 would be $250 a piece. That would be apportioned out so that the cost to the resident would be $583, and the town would be picking up just over $900 of that. 967, pardon me. No, 917, pardon me.
We're not going to hold you to the penny on this, Councilmember.
Okay, but to get an idea of what it would do.
Very good.
So,
Is
and it does
there-
sunset after December 31st.
Thank you. Is there further discussion of motion 2020-R-13?
I think this is an excellent program. I think we need to do things both for business and for residents, and I think this is getting a good mix out there. So staff and Councilman Lingua, I thank you for this proposal.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
I
much.
think that this is a very good idea for the same reason that the funding for food at the farmers market, that again, people are losing their jobs and might be unable to afford a repair to their house at this time. And so this will very much help out. Is there any further discussion of resolution 2020-R-13?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just from my perspective, I did want to recognize Councilmember Lingua. It was in a conversation with him over the weekend that caused us to refocus some of the staff efforts and to design this as a separate standalone program. And I do think that it's going to serve the needs of the community.
Well, thank you to both Councilmember Lingua and the staff for developing it. I think this will be a very helpful program. Okay.
I'd like to thank staff for banging out the details on this. I gave them a lot of Play-Doh to work with, and I think they got something that holds really well.
Very good. Okay. Unless someone else wants to talk, I'm going to call a roll call vote. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Henry is still absent. Councilmember Richardson still absent. And Councilmember Mayers.
Aye.
Very good. I abstain. The motion passes 4-0-1. The next agenda item is a very careful puzzle we have to pull our way through. So we have a 3-step process here to authorize transfer of funds from the unallocated general fund to the Economic Development Fund to the Community Development Fund. So the first thing that we must do is make a motion to suspend the charter provision that an ordinance may not be passed and at the same meeting at which it is introduced. So may I have a motion to that effect?
I am looking on here. I'm not seeing it. Which exact charter provision are we looking at?
Yes, I'm pulling it up, sir. And if you look in the packet memo for this, it spells out the process, and I'll give you the exact provision here in just a moment. So if you look at
Document I
number
don't
9,
have.
yeah, if you look at number 9 in the packet memo, is where the specifications are, and I believe, and Jessica, if you could jump in if I'm wrong on this, but I believe it's going to be like section 219. Let me pull that up.
210,
Or 210.
210.
Yes.
210A. Does that answer your question, Councilman?
Yes, but I'm gonna defer to one of my other esteemed colleagues on the council to make the motion, as one of the documents I do not have in front of me is that memorandum. I have notes from it, but that is not one note that I wrote down.
You don't have action item 9 in front of you?
I have action item 9, but it does not have that listed. That's why I was looking at it. It does not have that listed in the
Okay, would you like me to read the section from the town charter just so you can understand what the provision is?
Oh, I understand what the provision is. I just don't have so you're telling me it's section 210A of the town charter.
Yeah, and I can read that to you. I have it in front of me.
I can also do the motion.
Please, Marcia, be my guest.
All right. So I'm winging it from the action item. So it's a motion to allow staff to review the emergency ordinance to authorize.
This is 9.1 on the agenda.
Oh,
Motion to suspend.
Motion to suspend section 2.210A of the town charter.
oh, sorry. Wait a minute, hold on. Excuse me. Motion. What am I? Motion to suspend the charter provision, which is section 2.10A.
210A. 210A.
210A, which provides that an ordinance may not be passed at the meeting at which it is introduced.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. I have to say that I've seen this provision used a few times during the many years I've been sitting on one side or the other of the dais, and this is the biggest emergency we've ever had. So I think this is appropriate. So is there any discussion of the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the
One
motion?
thing, do you feel like on its face, it's clear that this is just for this one time that we're suspending it solely for this?
It has to be each time an ordinance is introduced to be passed at the same meeting, you have to make this this finding.
Okay. So I.
Wait. Any all those in favor? Do a roll call vote. All those in favor? Oh, wait. Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
Councilmember Foe.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua.
Aye.
Councilmember Henry is still absent. Is that correct? Councilmember Richardson still absent. Is that correct? Councilmember Mayers.
Aye.
This motion requires 4 affirmative votes. Have I counted 4 affirmative votes?
I believe this,
Just
okay.
5, I thought.
I thought it takes 5.
No, it says 4.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I think that I understand what the charter says. There's a provision in the state law.
Okay, we don't need to discuss it. Aye.
Oh, okay.
Mayor votes aye. The motion passes 5-0.
Okay.
So that, I'm not going to discuss it that long. So next item on the agenda is introduction of emergency ordinance 2020-OR-08. This is an introduction, so there does not need to be a second, just someone needs to introduce it.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce emergency ordinance 2020-OR-08.
Would you
Date
like to,
introduced being March 25th, 2020.
would you like to provide a brief summary?
Yes, this is for the purpose of amending the town operating budget so we can appropriate certain funds from the general fund reserve to the town's economic development fund and the community development fund as well. And it's in order to provide emergency funding for certain programs to assist businesses and residents during the COVID-19 pandemic, and generally relating to the town's FY 2020 budget.
Thank you for that introduction, Councilmember Lingua. The next item, item 9.3, is a motion to adopt emergency ordinance 2020-OR-08 with an effective date of March 25, 2020, today. Someone like to make that motion?
So moved.
Motion has been
Second.
made and seconded, made by Councilmember Lingua, seconded by Councilmember Dixon, to adopt emergency ordinance 2020-OR-08 with an effective date of March 25th, 2020. Is there discussion of this ordinance?
Generally, Mr. Mayor, what this is going to do is it's going to increase the line of the general fund reserve to the community development fund reserve from $12,500 to $37,500, and the general fund reserve transfers add a new line to read general fund reserve and economic development fund of $125,000. Also, there's going to be approved financial plan fund expenditures outflows for FY 2020 to increase the line community development projected grants paid, as mentioned before, from $12,500 to $37,500, and the approved financial plan fund expenditures outflows FY 2020 to increase the economic development projected grants paid from $30,000 to $155,000.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. Is there further discussion of this motion to adopt emergency ordinance 2020-OR-08? Hearing none, I'm going to do a roll call vote in the order of board number. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Mayers,
Aye.
Councilmembers Henry and Richardson are still absent, is that correct? I vote aye also, providing the 5 necessary votes. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Next item is agenda item 10, a motion to direct the town manager to use available social concerns funds for a direct benefit grocery program to assist town residents in need in coordination with Riverdale Elementary School. Can I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Councilmember Foe. Is there a second?
I believe Councilmember Dixon seconded.
Very good. Seconded by Councilmember Dixon. Is there a discussion of this motion?
Yes, staff seek an opportunity to review the recommendation of the mayor and council that they direct the town manager to use available social concerns funds, which I believe to be $2,500. Is that right, Mr. Town Manager?
Yes, that's correct.
For a direct benefit grocery program to assist town residents in need. The program will be in coordination with Riverdale Elementary School. I know the plights of those students has been on every one of our plates. I think 600 students at Riverdale Elementary School have food insecurity, and I think this can go a long way into assisting some of those, or alleviating some of those concerns.
Do we want to limit the amount spent out of this, or is the full social concerns fund open?
For the rest of the remaining fiscal year, I think we have $2,500 left. And I think this talked about the utilization of all $2,500.
Okay. Is there any discussion of this motion?
Well, I support this motion on the greater issue of students, and the objective we're trying to make sure is that there's access to food. I I think one of the things that it's important for us as a town to do is to advocate with the Prince George's County Public School System that the students who are on the free or reduced lunch program that attend Riverdale Elementary are able to acquire those meals at Riverdale Elementary and not have to traverse to Templeton Knowles Elementary or to William Wirt Middle School, as that route is not a very safe route for kids of that age.
Councilmember, I
I'm just saying, I
understand.
know we're gonna bring it up under new business, but that's my
Okay.
main concern on this. I think it's, I mean, we can do this, but I think there's more we need to do. And I know we're gonna talk about that more later, but I just wanted to say,
There are actually many things that we can do that I've heard about on the way too many phone calls I've been on in the last couple of days, and we can discuss those under new business.
okay,
So is there further discussion of the motion to direct the town manager to use the available social concerns funds for the grocery program?
Have we had good connectivity with Principal Riley at Riverdale Elementary School? I reached out and didn't get a response yet, but it was only through social media. So
Councilman Foe, we've been working through Amy Martinez. She actually is the TNI representative from the Department of Social Services at Riverdale Elementary School. I spoke with her today, and they're just really great partners to work with.
So we feel like we can allocate these funds in an appropriate way through their assistance.
Absolutely. There are more than enough families that need assistance at this time.
Okay, any more discussion, questions, comments? Did we lose Laura?
yes, she
She said
left.
she had to go earlier.
All right. Okay, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion indicate during roll call your opinion. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye,
Council members Henry and Richardson are still absent, is that correct? Councilmember Mayers?
Aye.
I abstain, the motion passes 401. Thank you very much. That brings us to agenda item 11. Actually, I should mention I got a text message that DC residents are directed to shelter in place starting at 8 p.m. You're at home, right, John?
I am at home, yes.
So you're supposed to shelter in place starting in 5 minutes. You need to run out and get a bite to eat, or are you good?
We have enough food for about 6 months.
Very good. Glad to hear it. Okay, item 11, motion to direct the town manager to utilize available dollars from the operating major budget category of the FY 2020 approved budget to increase the town's contribution to the Farmers Market SNAP program by $3,000. May I have such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilmember Foe, seconded by Councilmember Dixon. Is there discussion of this motion?
Yes, I had previously spoken with Jim Coleman, and he asked council to respond by a 10% increase, 10 to 20% increase, which was, I think, $300 to $600. That was before the pandemic started. I think a $3,000 response shows that this town supports its residents and supports any means to ending food insecurity in this town.
Is there other discussion of this motion? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
aye,
Councilmembers Henry and Richardson are still absent, is that correct? Councilmember Mayers?
Aye.
I abstain, the motion passes 401. That brings us to item 12. Motion to authorize residential permit fees to be waived until September 30, 2020. Does someone wish to make this motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize residential permit fees to be waived until September 30, 2020.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Lingua, seconded by Councilmember Mayers to authorize residential permit fees to be waived through the end of September. Is there discussion of this motion?
Briefly, Mr. Mayor, what this motion entails is to, during this time through September 30th, should anyone be doing a project or something that's going to require a permit and said fee to be applied to it for the town, we will waive that fee.
Very good. Is there other discussion of this motion? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote in the usual order. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Mayers,
Aye.
Councilmembers Henry and Richardson are absent still. Is that correct? Very good. That brings us to item number lucky 13. Motion to extend the fiscal year 2020 payment due date for business personal property taxes to September 30th, 2020. May I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
I'm going to give it to Councilmember Mayers, and just because Councilmember Dixon said second, she gets the second. Is there discussion of this motion?
I think this is just another opportunity for us to free up some cash in the next coming months. I think the original payment was due June. Is that correct?
It depends. It depends on their filing. So we actually receive these throughout the year. And so it depends on when a business opens and when they make their filing. But as of the writing of the memo, there's $77,000 that's outstanding. And we have other businesses that will be filing their returns in the coming months. So this will, and typically once we're notified by the state, we give people 30 days to pay. So this is kicking everything out until the September 30th due date. So it's delaying revenue.
And I've spoken to a few business owners about this, and I think that extending this may be the difference between them staying open and not staying open, honestly, that they might throw in the towel without this. So I think it's very important. Is there further discussion of this motion? I'll do a roll call vote again. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Mayers,
Aye.
Councilmembers Henry and Richardson are still absent. Is that correct? I do not see them on the list. I abstain. The motion passes 4-0-1. Item 14, a motion to extend the payment due date for fiscal 2021 business licenses also to September 30th, 2020. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So
Mr.
moved.
Mayor? Please, Ms. Mayor.
So Councilmember Mayers made the motion. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Councilmember Mayers made the motion, seconded by Councilmember Foe. Is there discussion of this motion?
My one question to staff, Mr. Mayor, is while the payment is for September 30th, the paperwork still needs to be in by June 30, or is that being extended as well with the payment?
The payment's being extended, but Ms. Barnes, her staff handles the process, so we will still send out the paperwork. It's the payment that's being delayed.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to send a text message to, if I can find my window.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, can we continue on this motion? And then after that, we'll go from there. I'd like to call for a brief recess so the other members on the council are able to read the draft letter before we proceed.
That sounds great.
And that way you can text Mr. Thomas and he can come on board.
Very good. With no further discussion, I'll do a roll call vote on motion to extend the payment due date for business licenses. Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
Councilmember Foe.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua.
Aye.
Councilmember Mayers.
Aye.
Councilmembers Richardson and Henry are still absent. Is that correct? I abstain.
But the
motion
junior
passes
councilman is present.
4-1.
You always got to love a vote from Q.
That's true. Councilmember Lingua, you were going to make a motion for a 5 to 10 minute recess. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for a 10-minute recess so that you are able to contact Mr. Thomas and members of the council can read over the draft letter that will be going to him and CC to CEO Goldson.
Okay. Is there a motion, excuse me, is the motion to recess adopted by unanimous consent?
Just one question. Did we receive the letter, the draft letter?
I think Jessica is pulling it up on the
It's up
screen.
on the screen.
Yes, it's up on the screen
Oh,
now.
I see it.
Ms. Barnes, can I ask you to please send that to a Gmail address for me? Hello?
I wonder if she can hear you because she's replaced the screen with her.
Right.
You should be able to.
Right.
Can we go ahead and, I'm going to say we're moving into recess by unanimous consent unless someone objects. Hearing no objections, we are in recess.
Okay, thank you.
I can't move it. Yeah.
Yep. Since it's being shared on Ms. Barnes' screen, can we just have it emailed? Because we can't scroll unless she scrolls.
Council members, yes, I'm calling Ms. Barnes now. and
No, it slid down. Too much.
I know, but I didn't catch the.
Yeah, I'll make sure it's emailed out as well.
Okay, or if it's just me, is it one page? Oh, it's 2 pages. So yeah, okay.
It basically, I mean, in summary, I know we're in recess, but it just talks about the location of Riverdale Elementary in comparison to, like, they have to, for our kids to access free meals, they have to cross Kenilworth and East-West Highway
Okay.
potentially to get to a site. And if we're talking 80% of our kids have free and reduced lunches, that's roughly 600 students that may have to commute 1.3 miles per day to get meals, free and reduced meals.
Got it.
That's up to William Wirt. If they were to go to Templeton Knolls, it's a mile, and they're still having to cross Kenilworth Avenue twice, there and back, and they would be doing that 5 days a week until now, April 24th. So,
And Dr. Goldson's response is asked for us to provide police detail to assist in the crossing. It's a 3-hour time window, isn't it?
it's 2 hours, it's 11 to 1.
11 to 1, which is a drain on our resources.
So, and
Sorry, who asked for the assistance? For the,
We are in recess, so we should perhaps wait to discuss this until we're out of recess.
oh,
we can,
okay.
I just texted school board member Thomas. Haven't heard back from him yet.
okay.
What's the appropriate terminology? Like, we're council members. Is he board member Thomas?
District
Sure.
2, District, yeah, he's the school board representative for District 2.
School board representative for District 2, Thomas. I have a question for you.
I guess, or District Representative Thomas, you got me.
I was typing that the other day and I was just confused.
Mr. Thomas works too.
But then I felt bad about BM Thomas.
Yeah. Ms. Barnes, could you please send me a copy of the draft to a Gmail address? It's the same front, DJ Lingua, it's just at Gmail.
The other one for his DJ Industry.
You're gonna get so much spam from now on.
I know. I was like, does he really want to say that?
I don't care.
Public
I trust
meeting.
Google. Because, is Ms. Barnes there?
She's back on screen.
I am. So I learned a valuable lesson about sharing screens. So apparently I couldn't unmute myself, but we're good now. The document, the email chain is actually in the new business in the Dropbox, but we can go ahead and send that out to you via email right now.
I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
It's really good to get to see everybody. I hope all are well and your families are well and your communities are well. I would much rather be doing this person to person so we can get to talk together like we normally do.
I agree.
We actually have,
Chair's right here, buddy. But now I got to make sure it's away. I'm social distancing even from your chair, Aaron.
so we have two members, at least two members of the public. Karen McAllister is here and Debbie and Fernando are here. So that's good.
Oh, her baby.
So I'm going to keep going for about 2 more minutes and then call us back into session. Didn't look at the clock exactly when we started, but that's about right. Haven't heard back from board member
Yes, sir.
Thomas. Yes.
Look, we can get our dog as well.
No! I love my dog.
He's been nipping at my feet the entire meeting.
Oh, God.
I use the same
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Hold on for a second. Did you see the what I suggested? Okay, use it for that.
Okay, are we ready to re-enter Councilmember Lingua? You've disappeared off the screen.
My apologies, Mr. Mayor. I didn't mean to. I needed to address something.
That's fine. So my messaging app claims the messages have been delivered to Mr. Thomas. So if he's not here, we should just move ahead. So we are now in new business on the agenda. We're back in session at 8:10 p.m. Are there items of new business, Mr. Lingua?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that council directs the town manager to send the enclosed letter to school board representative for District 2, Joshua Thomas, and in doing so, CCing CEO Dr. Goldson of the Prince George's County Public Schools System.
Is there a second to the motion?
Seconded.
Who seconded? People moved around here. Councilmember Foe. Made by Councilmember Lingua, seconded by Councilmember Foe. Is there discussion of this motion?
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman.
Please, go ahead, Councilmember.
No, I
Fowler.
was just going to ask if we should extend the list of people that we send this to. Should we include
Yours-
District 22? Should we include Councilwoman Glaros? Our state representation. I wonder.
I could see sending a CC to County Executive Angela Also Brooks.
I just like to let
Being
people
that
know.
she, you know,
I feel
Go
like
ahead.
we were responded to by Dr. Goldson about this, and I just feel like to not to up the ante is such an inappropriate term for this, but just to like we want everybody to know that this is what the town is arguing on behalf of.
I'm happy, you know, I'm fine for this going out to District 22 reps.
Yeah.
Be that Alonzo Washington, Ann Healy, Nicole Williams,
Senator Pinsky.
Senator Pinsky. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, and if we could send one to Councilmember Glaros. I've had extensive conversations with her, and what she's told me that she says there's nothing she can do about it.
I mean, it might be worthwhile to send it to the at-large council members also.
Sure,
And just as an FYI, just so they know.
sure, that'd be fine.
So is that list of additional carbon copies acceptable by unanimous consent by everyone on the council?
Yes,
Yes.
to me it is.
Okay, I think it's pretty non-controversial to do that. So is there any further discussion of this motion?
Mr. Mayor, after reading this, I received this and I sent back a suggestion on a small amended change to the final paragraph, and that being combining the second and third sentences. As you have seen what they read now, I would like to amend it to read as the following. I'd like to make a motion to amend it to read as the following. While the town is also cognizant that there may be other considerations of which we are not aware, comma, it is the town's duty to advocate for change to the current dynamic so that students as young as 6 years old will no longer be required to traverse these major roadways as they seek secure food. So essentially would be to insert a comma after aware and strike in any event.
Councilman Lingua,
Yes.
do you think that we should, this is a question, do you think that we should add any of the legislative actions that we've taken tonight to show them the seriousness that we approach food insecurity in Riverdale Park, or the potential problem of food insecurity?
I think we could point out the fact that we passed agenda item 10, which is related to Riverdale Elementary, yet we can also express a concern, and while I didn't bring it up during the motion, I didn't want to get bogged down in that, but you know, the $2,500 is only going to go so far.
Yeah.
And you know, if we want to, if that point wants to be brought up, that's fine. We're trying to make an effort, yes, but we need a greater effort from the Prince George's County school system.
Agreed. I just feel like it
So, yeah.
goes an olive branch, like, hey, we're not trying to put this all
No,
on.
I agree. Uh-oh.
So we have a motion to amend the letter, the text of the letter. Was there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have the motion to amend on the floor. Is there any
I thought we had a
discussion? Motion to amend.
Can you, it sounded like he was interrupted before he finished the sentence. I was trying to follow. Councilman Lingua. So what exactly is the sentence that's being?
Essentially, it would be this, pardon me. I'll rephrase it. Substitute,
Can we?
or insert the word while at the beginning of the second sentence.
Can you just?
Add a comma after.
Councilmember.
Yes, sir.
Can you withdraw your previous motion and simply just read the entire last sentence? Strike and replace the last sentence from the beginning? Would that be acceptable?
Excuse me. All right, first off, I'll withdraw the motion.
Thank you.
Second, I'd like to make a motion to amend the second and third sentence as follows. To add at the beginning of the second sentence, the word while, and to replace the period with a comma after the word aware. And in the third sentence, strike in any event and the comma there.
Is there a second to this motion?
Seconded.
If I may, for clarity, I would read what the amended sentence would read. While the town is also cognizant that there may be other considerations of which we are not aware, comma, it is the town's duty to advocate for change to the current dynamic so that students as young as 6 years old will no longer be required to traverse these major roadways as they seek to secure food, period.
Okay. Is there any discussion of the changes? So this is just on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment, I will do a roll call vote. Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
Councilmember Foe.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua.
Aye.
Councilmember Mayers.
Aye.
Councilmembers Henry and Richardson are still absent. Is that correct? I abstain. The motion to amend passes 4-0-1. We are still in the main motion. Back to the main motion as amended. Are any other changes required?
Councilmember Foe, you had some points you brought up.
I just asked if you thought it improved the quality of the letter. I'm not married to any. I was just asking a question.
I have no objection to adding language pointing out the passage of agenda item 10 tonight. If you think that would suffice, or do you feel there should be more?
Should we mention, I mean, we have $3,000 going to SNAP and then the $25 and the $15 program. I think it shows the earnestness, I think it shows how difficult we think this problem is or how big this problem is in our community.
I'm fine with that. Comments from staff on this?
If I may, Mr. Mayor and Council, I think that if it's the will of the council to include, I guess, framing the issue that the town has taken measures, but that our measures are not sufficient to address the larger problem. I think that's the point that I'm hearing.
Yes.
I will work with Ms. Barnes, and the two of us will craft language that meets the intent of the council on that point.
Thank you.
So was the main motion, if someone could remind me, was the main motion to adopt the letter as written or to direct the town manager to write a letter substantially similar to the draft?
I believe the motion was to direct the town manager to draft a letter or to send a letter to the Prince George's, to Mr. Joshua Thomas, CCing CEO Dr. Goldson, based on the letter.
Based on. Is that the memory of the other council members?
Yes.
Something to that effect.
Okay, we're going to trust that everyone remembers that correctly. And so it sounds like we can have the rewording by Town Manager Lestitian and Town Clerk Barnes to reflect the suggested changes without requiring a formal amendment.
Correct.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? Anybody want to say anything else? I'll do a roll
More to
call
say.
vote. Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
Councilmember Foe. Foe? Did you freeze?
Bo?
I just lost it. It just froze for Are we voting now?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm an aye. It froze for about 20 seconds for me.
Councilmember Lingua.
Aye.
Councilmember Mayers.
Aye.
Councilmembers Henry and Richardson are still absent. Is that correct? I abstain. The motion passes 401. Are there other items of new business?
Mr. Mayor, I have items, I don't know if they would constitute new business, but I just wanted to mention a few things, and then I'll also pass it along to staff so we can find a way to circulate it to everyone. And I have it written on various pieces of paper, but I will try to be as brief as possible. Councilwoman Galeros had a meeting this morning that I attended where she summarized sort of what was going on and what information she had. So she was able to confirm that there's 67 confirmed cases of coronavirus in Prince George's County. But of course, due to HIPAA laws, she could not specify where they were. She did mention that there was a doctor. It's fair to assume that likely each of our municipalities has at least one person or one resident who may have it. What else did she mention? That they're adding additional testing sites, including FedEx Field, and that Laurel Medical Center, excuse me, is reopening. And they're also currently trying to figure out places for quarantining those who currently have the virus. Unemployment insurance in Maryland allows you to register same day. And so if that's something that residents are in need of, they can do it on the same day. And she provided a few additional resources, and I'll pass that on to staff. This Friday, March 27th at 2 p.m., there's a food distribution, and it's going to be near us. It's at Trinity Assembly of God, which is at 7800 Good Luck Road. And that's Friday at 2 p.m. And the next one will be in Laurel, and it sort of rotates on a monthly basis. So this one is as close as it's going to get to the town. If you know of any seniors who may need a food distribution, let Councilwoman Galeros know, or her office, so that they can assist in that. And College Park also has a food bank. And I will confirm when that occurs. And then I think there's one other. Sorry. While I'm looking for the other thing, she did say that there were 30, Riverdale Park had about 30% of responses for the census so far. She thought that was really good. She also wanted to know what we were going to do, what the town was doing, since we all have to sort of readjust our efforts because now we can't go door to door. I told her that I would speak with the town manager and confirm what our plan would be for adjusting to that. And let me see. There's a food bank that opens at noon on Wednesday, 5819 East Pines Drive. Like I said, I'll send all of this to staff. And they're looking for quantities of food. So if you want to donate cans of food, you can. And I think that sums it up. But I will get this all together and send it to staff so that they can push it out.
Okay. I've been participating in so many group phone calls that I can't even think of where one left off and the other one began. One of them this morning was with various secretaries of the state of Maryland, and they mentioned that the FedEx Field testing, drive-through testing site is available as soon as they get enough tests from the federal government that they can actually test people. They're all ready to go. Everything is constructed. It's just waiting for the tests to arrive. There's no known date for that. With regards to the unemployment insurance, they mentioned that people were thinking they had to call the same day that they were let go. That's not true. You have a long time to do it. They recommended trying to do it in a week, and mentioned that because of the massive numbers of people filing for unemployment, the federal system for checking Social Security numbers was slowed to a crawl during the daytime hours, and that it was best to apply online early in the morning or in the evening to try to get around that, that problem. There's another drive-through location that's being spun up, which is at the VEIP. I think this is the closest one to us, VEIP drive-through inspection station that is near the intersection of the Beltway and US 50, sort of on the, if I have my directions correct, southwest corner in there. And so search for that.
That Hardwick Ardmore Road.
That sounds right. And that's that's all I can think about. You guys should follow me on Twitter. I tend to send out a lot of stuff there that happens.
Okay.
And I've been just doing raw dumps of my notes that I take during these meetings. I can sending those to John. I can send these to you as well.
Okay. As well, Mr. Mayor and Ms. Dixon, this Friday at noon, Ben Sly at the Christian Life Center on Taylor Road is having a food distribution as well. And it just, for folks to keep in mind, you have folks asking about that who are in need.
Okay. Are there any other items of new business? Are there any items of unfinished business? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I will do a roll call vote. Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Mayers,
Aye.
Councilmembers Henry and Richardson are still absent. Is that correct? I vote aye also. We are adjourned at 8:30 p.m.
Be well,
Thank you all
everyone.
very much.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.